Everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 hertz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally, and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant-based diet going for yourself today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and get with alkalinity. Then you can generate some static electricity. Send me some love telepathically. Set attention to your mind and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to great days. So, this morning I'm going to talk a little on chimeras, okay, and I'm going to explain what a chimera is. If you do not or have never ever heard of what a chimera actually is, I'm going to go a little bit into what a chimera is, and then I'm going to go further on how the masses are mutated or bred to be chimera, and how they kind of do this whole thing, okay? So stay tuned, okay, because it's going to be a pretty well video. Well, let's get into it. So a chimera, if you never heard of it, it's pretty much, you can call it a creature or a being that is made up from multiple different species of a creature. So there's or multiple different parts of an animal. So one very common example of a chimera, it may be in Roman or Greek time. They see it as this creature with a lion head. It has a goat body, and it has a serpent tail. So the creature's tail is a snake, and then its body is that of a goat, and then it has a head of a lion, and it may or may not have like eagle feet, okay, and wings. I want to say some are portrayed with wings, or some are not. I'm not too sure. But this is what a chimera is. It's pretty much a creature that is made up of multiple different creatures, okay, all meshed into one creature, one type of being. And chimeras are, they're not as rare as you think. They're very common throughout life, because this is something that we have been doing, and this is something that nature actually does in herself, okay, but I want to say to a far lesser extent, maybe, if you take our hand out of it, but I could be wrong on that. It could be just so that nature breeds these types of things in her experimentation, you know. But they create these things. Basically, they create these creatures which are meshed into one creature. So they take multiple creature genetics, and they pretty much put it all into one creature, and then they continuously breed these things. What do they use them for? They use them for it can be a number of different things they use them for. They can use them for wide, for many different things. They can use them for war. They can use them for farming. They can use them for just experimentation. They can use it. They can use them to understand ourself more. You know, they can use them for many different things. Now, these are older chimeras, though. There's also that they breed chimeras, and they pretty much worship them as gods as well. Because if a chimera is successfully created, it is very far out. It is the word that I can use for it. It's very like, since it has all of these different animals made up into one, they like to worship it because it's something very, very, very unique, you know, and it may have a very unique type of energy to it, you know, and in this way, people would pretty much put them for worship. Um, you can find many chimeras that have been worshipped as gods throughout the our history, or just throughout our existence. Um, Now, I was doing a little bit of research that I came across, and there was some articles, or maybe just like writtens that were on chimeras that they were creating for the most part, which were pig and human. Okay, so they're creating these pig human embryos, and they were pretty much growing them, but they never actually. Those very fewer articles were actually talking about growing the embryos to maturity, you know, but they were creating these embryos, and there was some articles where they were talking about having the fully grown pig human embryo, okay, but they do this type of thing, and one of the articles said that they can be used for I think it was like a type of farming, or it can help humanity to grow these things, and pretty much farm these chimeras to pretty much use their organs for people in the hospital that need their organs. So what they would do, or what they are doing, or what they want to do, is they want to breed these half pig, half human, if it is half and half, pig human chimeras, and they want to then farm these. And then whenever people in the hospitals are needing organ transplants, they don't have to wait for other people. They can just get them out of these chimeras that they are breeding. Okay, because they can grow these chimeras to have organs that will be conducive to a human's body. So if you're in the hospital and you're needing a transplant for some type of organ because it's failing, they can just pick up one of these chimeras that they're breeding, and then they can just take its organs and put it into you, you know, and it would work for you. But it's very there's a lot of controversy around it, you know, and this is not something that they have just started doing. They've been doing this for probably thousands of years, maybe even eons. And this is something that takes place all throughout nature, okay? But it is very taboo when you kind of get into it. It's very, very weird, you know. Um, but they do this to the masses as well, but on a more discreet level. They don't actually get people to they don't actually get people's permission to be doing this type of stuff to them, which is very possible through genetic modification. Okay, because as you alter the genetics, you're able to decide the expression of a creature, you know, and it's through the genetic modification, and the understanding of the genetic level, that they're able to modify and create these chimeras that they are creating, you know, and they're doing this all throughout the mass population. More discreetly, though, they're not putting it out there. They're not telling people that we're purposely creating chimera. But this is what they're doing. And pigs nowadays, and most of the animals that we can say Western civilization, for example, but it could be most of the world, or most of societies or civilizations, like when it comes to the bigger civilizations or societies. But Western civilization, I know that most of the the animals that they're farming, and people are eating on the meat of those animals, they're chimera, but they're not chimera to the point where you're seeing them as beings who aren't able to they're not extremely chimera. They're just holding some genetics that are going to cause maybe a ripple effect in your genetic level to turn you into some chimera on a subtler level. They're not extremely on a high level of being a chimera, like some of the older chimeras or some of the experimented or created embryos. But they are modifying the genetics of the farm animals that people are consuming nowadays with all these different informations or codes, and people are just eating this, and it's turning people into chimera, okay, on a subtler level. Once again, this is also why they keep you superficial throughout your life. This is why they keep you surface level, because if you're surface level and you never go deeper into what is actually going on, you're never going to know. And if you never really know, then you're just going to be ignorant to it, and you're not going to really care about it. And this is just how they're farming you as a person, okay? Because the mass population is a farming in itself. All right, they're mutating us, they're turning us into chimera. A pig, nowadays a modern pig that most people eat, is holding a certain percentage of human gene. So pigs that people are eating nowadays are part human, and this is how they mutated them. So when you're eating a pig, you're literally eating on yourself. You're eating, it's cannibalistic, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, and they do this on purpose because it creates a type of cancer in your body. It creates a type of self-destructive nature or force in your body. Okay, and this is how they're slowly mutating people, or turning people into chimera. Okay, it's the same thing with chickens. It's the same thing with the cows. They're not treating these animals as they should be treated, as like brother or sister species. They're just experimenting on them, and they're putting them in with the global plantation. And some people are for the protection of the animals and their genes, and like keeping them healthy and whatnot. But for the most part, the industries for like supplying meat throughout the world are doing this type of stuff. All it takes is shooting up the animals with some type of vaccine, and doing that, for maybe like generations of that animal, of that species, and then it slowly starts to mutate, and then people are eating what that animal is carrying genetically, and they're coming to that expression. Pigs, they are holding human genetics, and they've done this on purpose. They're chimera. So when you're eating on an animal, and we can use the pig for example, you're eating a chimera. It's just not extremely a chimera like the lion-headed, goat body, serpent tail chimera. It's not that extreme, but it is a chimera. but it's because they can't have it that extreme of a chimera, because it would cause some type of uproar, and people definitely wouldn't want to eat something like that, but it's like, this is the way they created the pig. The pig is holding a lot of our genetic coding as well, and when you're eating on it, it's mutating you, and it's turning you into a chimera. And then they do this to the mass, and once that reaches a peak, since it's generating this self-destructive force within your body and within your organism and within your being, as you keep doing that, as you keep eating on that creature, the pig, it's once again, it's transmitting that self-destructive force, and it's creating this cancer within you, and that reaches a peak if you continue to do it, and that leads to a type of expression of self-destruction. It can lead to things like suicide. It can lead to things like having murderous intent. It can lead to all of these self-destructive natures, and as they do this in collective, that force or that energy, it's pretty much collected, so it's amassed, and this is how they create warfare within the masses, and then this is how they make it to where they're able to decide whether people can live or not. Because if there's mass uproar of this self-destructive nature, and they can't control the masses, which the higher ups are in charge of, if they can't do that, then the government can step in, and they can have some type of judgment to decide who is going to continue to be able to live, and who is going to be killed off. And that's getting into the slaughter of the plantation, the farming of humanity. And then they collect that energy of our global slaughter, so you got to watch out for like what you're eating. And they can do this with plants and fruit as well. It's not just animals. They can definitely get into your genetic level through plants and fruit, okay? But for the most part, avoid eating these animals, because they're not something to be eaten, for one, because they alter your genetics in a very, very destructive way, and your DNA, it pretty much it's very, very what's the word? Your DNA is pretty much damaged as you're eating this type of stuff, because they're programming you to be addicted to eating that, and then they go about creating that thing that you are then programmed to eat, and then it literally alters your DNA in a very, very destructive way. And then they just round up all the people who are overly mutated, or who are overly chimera at that point, and then they pretty much take responsibility for those peoples that they literally turned into chimera, and then after that they can do whatever they want with that mass of people, you know. So it's not just the pig. Once again, it's all the animals that are within the industry of supplying meat. So the industry responsible for supplying meat, it's also turning the animals that it's farming into chimera, but they're not extremely chimera, only subtly, because it would cause some type of uproar, if people were seeing an animal that was half cow, half snake, half goat. People would kind of freak out maybe, or they just wouldn't want to eat that, or something along those lines, so they just alter the genetics very, very subtly. They put human genetics in most of the farm animals because once again they want to damage you on the genetic level. They want to create this cancer within you. They want to create this self-destructive force within you, because you're God. If you were to bring your genetics back to a pure state, you'd be very, very godlike. You would be divine, and you would be capable of doing so much, you know. And if mass people were in this, it would be we would be a force to be reckoned with when it comes to the elite's global domination, So that's one of the reasons, or that's one of the things that they're doing with this chimera breeding. But there's so much more that we can see from these chimeras as well. But it's a very, very taboo topic. You can do all your own research. Once again, just look up chimera, and you can find some of the different researches and studies and articles about how they're creating these chimeras. But it goes back to ancient times as well. There's always been a creation of all of these different types of beings. If you look at Egypt, the gods that are portrayed, they're all different. Some are there's there's Segment, it's a cat. There is Toth, he's like a human slash ibis. This is all type of chimera. So at one point we see chimeras as gods. And in Babylonia they have a chimera god as well that they worship. Okay. But somewhere along the lines, nowadays we don't really worship chimera, at least on the surface anymore. Okay, maybe we still innately worship chimera because they are very fascinating. Okay, but more so they're kind of using the creation of chimera to mutate the masses so that they can take a more controlling hand over us. So that's going to be it for today's video. Once again, I hope everybody did enjoy the content today on chimera. Remember, do your own research as well. Maybe you can find something that I haven't seen yet. If you do know anything, drop a comment down to help me understand a little bit more. Show some love as well. Drop a like if you did enjoy the content. Subscribe for more daily content. Peace out. Generate some static electricity from the etheric body. One love, and have a great morning.